As far as working with the cows specifically, I think it has really taught our family and our kids just the importance of honoring where our food comes from and just really caring for God's creation and appreciating just all the hard work that they do for us
Mhm.
because these cows, they do work really hard. They produce so much for us every day.
Welcome to The Home and the Maker, sharing advice and encouragement about all topics homemaking and homesteading, and honoring the maker in all of it. Join Megan from Shine.fm for today's conversation. Part of your homestead dreams might include bringing in livestock like cows, but what about dairy cows specifically? Maybe you hope to have your own raw milk or turn that milk into other dairy products for your home. And to break down a little bit of what it looks like to have a dairy cow on the homestead is Tiffany from the blog Growing Dawn. Thanks so much for joining me.
Hello.
Describe your
Happy to be
little
here.
your little Tennessee homestead just to start off. What does it look like? How big is your little homestead? What do you have on it? Just start off with just your little homestead.
Yeah, so we personally live on 1 acre. My mom lives not connecting to us, but very close by, and she has 5 acres, and that is where we keep our dairy cows.
Okay.
But here on our property, we also have some chickens and we have some gardens. And in the past, I mean, you probably already know this, but in the past, we did have a dairy cow here on the 1 acre, but obviously we don't have her anymore. Now we have the two bigger cows and their babies, and thankfully we have more space for them. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's beautiful here. We are very blessed to live amongst a Christian community, people who are very like-minded. That has been invaluable to us. So we just love where we are at.
That's awesome. I love that. So, on your website, of course, one of your favorite things is cows. So, you say. So, I mean, that's our main topic today. But I want to start off with when you and your husband decided to purchase a cow, like, where did you look? Just do you Google cows for sale? Like, what do you do?
That's a really good question. I mean, honestly, like that was kind of where we started too. Like we really had no clue. But we actually searched several Facebook groups and it's just kind of a whole underground world, once you're introduced to it, like it's much easier to find kind of what you're looking for. But yeah, there's several Facebook groups and that's where we found our first cow. I honestly don't even remember like how we came across it. I don't know. I think we were just kind of looking everywhere, just trying to find everything we could on Facebook or Craigslist and
Yeah.
just kind of trying to find something in our budget. So,
Yeah. So, why did you decide to get a cow? I think I also read you didn't have any experience either taking care of a cow or anything like that. So, what made you decide this is something that we're going to do?
so we got our first dairy cow in 2020, and like many people, like we were just completely reworking our lives
Yeah.
in 2020. And, everybody was getting stimulus checks in 2020. And along with our community, we were all just kind of like brainstorming, like trying to figure out how do we become even more self-sufficient and prepare ourselves like for what could be ahead. And a dairy cow is something that no one else around us does. We really wanted something that our family would actually use, obviously, but then something we could also barter with,
Hmm.
something that no one else around us had. So that was kind of our main reason for getting into a dairy cow. And we knew that we only had enough space for a mini cow at the time. So
Yeah.
that is basically the reason we got a stimulus check and we're like, let's put this towards something that's actually going to be an investment in our homestead. So
Yeah. I love that. So, just to jump off of that a little bit. So, the cow is something that you were going to do to barter with. Now, as you've experienced this and kind of grown your skill set in that, do you barter your milk with things that other people have around you? Like, how does that work?
oh, yes, we do barter a lot. Like I said, we're surrounded by a community of believers that are also, most of them are homesteaders and do a lot of their own stuff. So we barter
Yeah.
milk for eggs. We barter milk for music lessons right now with our neighbor
Nice.
for my kids. And then just other, random things as they come
Yeah.
up. So it has been very valuable.
That's so cool. So, when you were looking for a cow, back to that question, what were some of the things you were looking for? So, I mean, are there certain characteristics of a cow that you're like, this would be ideal? Of course, you said mini cow, but aside from that, like when you're researching I'm going to get a dairy cow. What are some of the maybe prime characteristics that you should look for?
Well, when we first got into it, I will say we did not know nearly what we know now. We didn't
Yeah.
really understand the importance of genetics or what like half of it meant or any of that. So at the time when we first got into it, yeah, we were just looking for a mini Jersey cow because we knew that Jerseys are great producers. They produce high quality creamy milk, and we knew that a mini cow was all we could sustain as far as feed and everything. But yeah, I mean, now I would say it really depends on your goals. I mean, if you're just wanting a milk cow for your family, like a small homestead, I think a mini cow or a mid-sized Jersey cow is a great way to go because it is easy to end up with way more milk than
Yeah.
you know what to do with.
Yeah.
If you end up with a huge cow or a breed that produces, 6, 7 gallons a day, like
Yeah.
you probably don't need that. You're
Right.
just trying to provide for your family. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I love it that you have a blog that breaks down the entire cost. So, one of your posts on your blog, it broke down the entire cost of what it would be like to have a dairy cow in 2025. So, that was super helpful just for me to read to get that like full picture of this is what it costs to purchase the cow. This is what it costs for feed and all those things. But
Mhm.
you got into it, so you had your stimulus check, but did you fully realize like this is what we're getting into?
Um, Honestly, I think we were pretty well prepared. I mean, we got a really, really good deal on our
Okay.
first cow. Um, Obviously, like, I think a lot of the issues that we had with her are probably because we didn't pay as much for her.
Okay.
But I mean, she still provided for our family. She was a great cow. She just had like calving issues,
Okay.
and she was actually line bred, which I don't. It's not necessarily the same as inbred, but there is like
Okay.
some breeding between like family lines.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like less desirable in a cow,
Okay.
but it's not like a deal breaker. So that was another reason that we got her at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think we were pretty well prepared at the time for the cost. I mean, we had done a lot of research and we knew exactly what we were going to be feeding,
Yeah.
and we had already bought fencing. Like we made sure that we were
Okay.
prepared before we
Yeah.
actually brought her home. So I do highly recommend that.
Yes. You did your homework.
Yeah.
So, how long is the shelf life of raw milk? So, you milk your cow and then what?
Well, okay. So one of the biggest things I think people misunderstand is milk doesn't operate the way that store-bought milk, store-bought pasteurized milk
Mm,
uh, operates in terms of like going bad. As far as the shelf life of just like drinking it fresh, I mean,
yeah.
a lot of that really depends on the cleanliness of the equipment
Hmm.
that your farmer is using. Like that makes the biggest difference in the length of time that it stays fresh. But even after it starts to sour, which is not bad, it doesn't mean it's gone bad. It
Okay.
just kind of loses flavor.
Yeah.
So think about like, cheese. Cheese is made from clabbered milk, sour cream, like those kinds of things. Like it just starts to clabber and sour.
Yeah.
But with our milk, I would say it stays pretty fresh for probably about 2 weeks.
Okay.
We keep our equipment really clean. And another thing that really helps with keeping it fresh is just leaving it undisturbed because,
Mm,
raw milk is not homogenized. So the cream line rises up to the top, and that cream line kind of acts as like a barrier.
yeah.
If you leave it unopened, then it'll last a lot longer.
Gotcha. What do you do with all of your raw milk? So, do you do sour cream and cheese and what do you do?
So right now, honestly, I have tried those things. Right now, I don't really make cheese just because we sell our milk, and I
Hmm.
really don't have enough to make cheese with, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I do make all of our own yogurt, and I have 4 boys, so like they go through a lot.
Yeah.
Just for context, like they do go through a lot. It would take a lot, like for me to make all of our dairy products for our family. But I honestly just don't really have a desire to do that right now because it
Hmm.
just takes so much time.
Yeah.
I'm fine with just like having enough for us to drink, making yogurt, and then selling the rest. So that's what
Right.
we do. But I have made cheese and sour cream and stuff
Yeah.
like that, butter, all of that before. I just don't do it regularly right now.
Gotcha. Now, do you do the whole Instapot thing with the yogurt?
Yes. And
Okay.
I do have a recipe on my blog.
Cool.
for the Instant Pot yogurt. And that is definitely my favorite method. It's so
Okay.
easy.
Cool. How much time do you spend a day working with you have more than one cow now, right?
Yes, we have two, well, we have four
Okay.
technically. We have two mamas and then they're two babies, which are they're
Mhm.
5 months old now.
Okay.
So,
So how much time a day do you spend working with them, milking them, tending to them, as far as like your routine?
well, we spend about an hour every day milking, but obviously there's more time than just that put into it. Um, we also move the fence like at least once a week,
Okay.
sometimes twice a week, and that takes probably another hour
Okay.
every time we move the fence. So, and then obviously there's stuff like washing jars and taking care of equipment at home and just doing things with the milk. So also I deliver milk to a drop once a week. So I mean, you're asking about the cows though specifically. Like we kind of have a bigger operation now
Yeah.
than somebody just getting into like a homestead cow would.
Yeah.
But as far as milking, it's about an hour a day.
Okay. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Um, so, from the outside, raw milk seems kind of scary because it's not homogenized or like there's not any of the like preservative stuff in it. But like how do you respond to people when you like when someone would say to you, I'm kind of skeptical of this because it's not preserved. How do you
Mhm.
respond to that?
Yeah. The pasteurization process it's, I guess you could call it a preservation process, but really when you think
Pasteurization,
about,
yeah, that was the
yeah,
that
yeah,
was the
yeah,
word.
yeah. When you think about, which I actually just read this the other day and it was a good reminder for me, like the pasteurization process was started because dairy farmers were keeping their cows in very unsanitary conditions.
Mm,
Like they were just completely like not caring at all about how they were extracting the milk and what they were doing with it. And, it was just in a time where there wasn't really a whole lot that they could do about it. And so that was kind of where that process came from.
yeah.
So just keeping that in mind, like, and honestly, like it's not that much different now. Conventional dairies, like cows are kept in very close quarters. They're fed like very low quality feed. It's not very clean.
Yeah.
And so pasteurization is just kind of a process to eliminate all of the nasty stuff,
Hmm.
the nasty ways that the milk is handled.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, to me, when you think about that, you kind of start to understand like it's more of just like a cover up process.
Mm,
It kind of makes raw milk seem a lot less scary.
yeah.
But also, pasteurization kills both the good and the bad bacteria. And
Hmm.
that's probably the best thing about raw milk is it's full of probiotics and good bacteria. The vitamins and minerals are actually bioavailable and they're actually all there. Like nothing is destroyed or broken down
Yeah.
by those processes. So when you think about that, it's a little bit easier to
Yeah.
understand the benefits.
Very cool. So if your cow is sick, or maybe something that you can't really see, but how do you know when milk isn't safe to consume?
Um, so you're talking about like if a cow is sick.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that, like if a cow has mastitis, you don't want to consume the milk. And we do mastitis tests every so often to
Mm,
make sure that none of that is showing up. We disease test our cows so we know that they are free of like the three major diseases that are common in cows in our state. So if you are going to get into dairy farming or even, having a homestead milk cow, definitely recommend disease testing.
mm,
We do it yearly. You can buy like cheap mastitis tests to do once a week, like when you milk. But other than that, there's really not, as long as you are following sanitary practices and you are actually cleaning your cow's udder and you are keeping your equipment clean, like washing it with hot water, soap,
yeah.
detergent, all the things. Like
Right.
if you're doing those things, there's really nothing else that you need to worry about.
Okay. That's great. Um, uh, so if your cow is sick with something a little bit more major, do you have like a vet that comes out to the property? I mean, I'm so used to, just having a dog, bringing them into the vet. So, do you have a
Yeah.
local vet that does those trips?
Yes, we do. And we did recently have an issue with one of our cows where she did not handle calving very well. She was just very weak afterwards. So we did have to have a vet out. But yes, most large animal vets they do
Yeah.
farm calls. So they come out to you like if you need something,
Yeah.
even for like trimming their hooves, stuff like that. Like they come out and do that for us. So
Cool.
yeah.
So, earlier on, you said that, and I saw this on your blog as well, it is possible to have a cow on 1 acre. So that was kind of surprising to me because an acre doesn't seem that big. So you started off that way. How was that process for you guys as far as moving the fences or just kind of tell me about that experience?
So when we had our mini Jersey on our 1 acre, we moved her fence every few days. I think we had I think we had four paddocks set up here, and we would just move her around like every
Yeah.
4 days. And she did fine. She was able to, like, it was enough grass for
Hmm.
her during the summer. I mean, obviously, like, she gets hay during the winter because nothing's growing.
Yeah.
But it worked out well. I do think that the only reason that really worked for us is because she was so small.
Yeah.
Like if you had a standard size Jersey cow, it would probably be a lot harder because their intake is a lot higher. They require a lot more intake. And also, like where you live is going to
Hmm.
make a huge difference too. I mean, we live in Tennessee here in the South, like things grow, the grass grows really well. But if you're somewhere
Yeah.
where it's dry or, your season is shorter, like it's probably going to be harder
Yeah.
to do it on 1 acre. But for us, it was possible. And we
That's
did it
awesome.
for a few years.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, back to talking about the calves. So, when I read this on your blog, I was like, wait, what? Because how naive I am. I thought, well, dairy cows, they just have milk all the time. I did not think about the fact that they actually need to give birth for that milk production to be a thing. So, um, how much effort for you guys goes into that breeding and how often does that happen?
So cows, it's really healthy for them to have a calf every year or
Okay.
close to once a year. We're in the process of trying to get our cows bred back right now.
Hmm.
Um, they calved 5 months ago ish. So yeah, we are planning on breeding them with a bull that a friend owns. So we're gonna like take them there,
Yeah.
and have them bred. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people do AI, which is artificial insemination, where you breed
Do
them.
it
You don't actually
yourself.
have to have a bull.
Yeah.
So that can be convenient, but that's what we did with our first cow, and she did not take to it very well.
Mm,
So I don't know. We would rather avoid that if we can. I mean,
yeah.
obviously we would if we had to, but yeah, there's several options available for that. But it's really interesting how many people don't realize that
Yeah.
cows are not just automatically like dairy cows are not just automatically in milk.
Yeah.
But it's just like any other mammal, and
Yeah.
like us, we have to have a baby in order to start lactating. And they
Right.
do. And if you keep producing milk, if the milk continues to be used, then they keep producing.
Yeah.
So
So then the calves that are birthed, do you keep them? Do you sell them to another farmer?
well, this is our first time around
Okay.
having calves from both of our cows because we've only had these two for a year,
Okay.
and they were pregnant when we got them. And so they had them in March, and we are planning on keeping them.
Yeah.
We were very blessed and got two little heifers, so two
Oh,
girls, which is perfect. So we're hoping to raise both of them up to be dairy cows as well. So I think we have just enough room up there. We can keep all of them, but we probably could not do more than four.
gotcha.
So
That's awesome. I love that. So, as you've experienced working with dairy cows, what has God taught you or revealed to you as you've worked with them, or just even working on your little homestead? How has God shown himself in his grand design?
oh man, there's a lot I could go into there. Um, as far as working with the cows specifically, I think it has really taught our family and our kids just the importance of honoring where our food comes from and just really caring for God's creation and appreciating just all the hard work that they do for us
Hmm.
because these cows, they do work really hard. They produce so much for us every day, And that is just a huge blessing. So it's just amazing how God designed animals
Yeah.
to provide for us. So we want to honor them in return. And
Yeah.
then another thing I think that we've kind of learned through this whole process is just the value of community, and just seeing God's design for his church, his body, just to come together in unity and support each other and honor each other. That is something that we feel like we're able to do through offering raw milk and, bartering and just being a part of the community that we live in. It's been really amazing. And
Yeah.
I've definitely seen him working through all of that.
That's awesome. I love that. All right, last quick question. Do your cows have names?
Yes.
Ah,
So Josie, well, her name's Josephine. We call her Josie,
yeah.
and Patsy.
Okay.
And the calves are Claire and Annette.
Oh,
So
that's so
Claire
cute.
Annette. Get it?
Yes. Okay. That's
So
adorable.
yeah, we're a family of musicians, and my
Okay.
mom played clarinet, and like when she was in high school, and we are like, well, it's kind of a nod to her. We're keeping them
Yeah.
on her property, so we named them Claire and Annette.
That is so perfect. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany, for
Yeah,
sharing your wisdom, what you've learned about having a dairy cow. So much information, obviously, so much more to learn. If you want to learn more and you've been listening, you can read on her blog. It's Growing Dawn, and you can follow Tiffany and her family and all they're doing there. So thank you so much for listening. And thank you, Tiffany, for being a part of this.
thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Home and the Maker podcast. And for other podcasts from Shine.fm, visit the Shine.fm podcast channel.